kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Are you about to meet the media? If you're about to be interviewed, do their homework for them. Know this about the person who will interview you. He or she is busy, so expect minimal, if any, preparation. He or she doesn't know as much about your topic as you do. He or she isn't as concerned as you are about getting your message out, so you need to take responsibility. Provide a biography and fact sheet, photographs, or other materials that tell your story. Reporters won't be put off if you supply frequently asked questions. Remember, Public Speaking 101, at the end of the speech, what's the one thing you want them to remember? You can download the document I supply to reporters who interview me and squirm through a video that demonstrates how not to conduct your media interview at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.fm.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting live from the Horizon.global studio. We are joined now via remote by Mr. Tom Gray of East Tennessee, our legal mind. How are you doing today, Tom?
Oh, we're just making it, pushing through the end of the week. This is going to be my last full week on the air before I go on paternity leave for the new baby. So trying to enjoy the time that I have left with you and Will before my time becomes monopolized by little girl number 3.
Well, unfortunately, we won't be in tomorrow, so I guess today is
this is last day?
Yeah. That's why we're actually moving the LP drama up today. I actually have to work 5 o'clock tomorrow because our manager is going to be out. So, we have some good drama. Oh, my God. People are nuts, man. People are nuts. Speaking of people who are nuts, evidently, Fallon Fox transitioned in 2006 when she was 31 years old. Now, as someone who started transitioning slightly younger than that, I have to say, bitch, when it comes to fighting, you're a dude. I'm sorry, you are. At the age of 31 years old, you have your entire primacy already behind you, building muscle mass from testosterone. No amount of hormone replacement therapy after that point is going to change that. Generally, it's going to take, somewhere between 5 to 10 years for a person's body to fully change. But that's only younger stuff. I mean, after 30, it's just really not going to change that much. It's just not, because all the building has been done by that point. Hormone replacement therapy at that point is like changing the curtains in the house, putting in new carpet and things like that. But the house is already built. And we currently don't have the reconstructive surgery capabilities to redesign the actual layout of the house at that point. I mean, your shoulders are already broad, your brow bones are already prominent. Well, we can actually adjust that. But your actual build is just not going to change. So this was a woman who had been transitioned for about 7 years, which is a fairly lengthy amount of time in transsexualism. But she's not transgender. She keeps being referred to as transgender. She's not. She's a post-op transsexual. Which, I mean, I guess that's an improvement over just being transgender, because as we were talking about before, being transgender is basically just being a full-time drag queen. Once there are physiological changes, it becomes transsexualism, and she's a post-op transsexual, which is fine. I'm not knocking her for that. But I am saying that when she gets into... I mean, that's what testosterone is. That's what it does. It enhances physical capabilities. It's why the men's high jump record is higher than the women's. It's why the men's 100-meter dash record is faster than the women's. Nothing that we do is ever going to change that. And you can start pumping females full of testosterone, and you can start pumping men full of estrogen, whatever. If you get to it early enough, sure, I guess you could cause these averages to sort of level out. But in the real world, without those sort of extraneous drugs input into a person's body, their sexual organs are going to be what largely determine their physical abilities. And obviously, yes, the strongest woman alive is going to be substantially stronger than your average male. But it's not because of testosterone that the male is weaker, or because of estrogen that the woman is stronger. It's because, she clearly dedicated her life to becoming the strongest woman. And she's still going to be weaker than the strongest man. And there's all sorts of records and evidence to prove that. So I don't even know why we're having this discussion about whether or not an MMA fighter born as a dude who transitioned to female has an inherently unfair advantage over someone who was born a female. Quite obviously, they do.
I'm going to have to disagree, and here's why. Because MMA is fought in weight classes, not in gender classes. Now, there aren't very many intergender matches that happen, but that's because there aren't a lot of male fighters who are all that good at the lower weight levels, where people like Ronda Rousey and Chris Cyborg and Shayna Baszler fight. And in fact, I looked up this particular fighter, Fallon Fox. She has been knocked out before by a woman.
Yes, I see that one time. And it's like I said.
But that's a record of 5-1. See, nobody has fought her since this event. And here's what's really... Like, this story we're talking about is from 2014. Nobody's been willing to fight Fallon Fox since then, for some reason. And it's kind of silly.
Imagine that.
It took her 2 minutes and... 2 minutes and 17 seconds was the time for this knockout fight. That's an eternity in MMA. Two other women have taken her for more than 3 minutes. Alicia Jones, who she won via submission, by the way. And she lost in 4 minutes and 15 seconds to Ashley Evans Smith, who is a good fighter, but not particularly accomplished. But there are plenty of other examples of women fighting men in MMA and winning. In fact, there was one example.
But you also just said that men historically don't perform well in that weight class.
Well, no, it's not that they don't perform well. It's just that they're not there. There just aren't men there. I mean, you're talking about, let's see.
Okay, so hold on. I'm looking at this bitch's stats right now.
Featherweight.
Okay, she's slightly shorter than me. She's exactly the same weight as me. But she's about 5 inches, about half a foot shorter than me. I wouldn't want to fight her because I know of what someone my height and my build, because I'm a pretty muscular person. I spent most of my life lifting weights and doing physical activities. I don't want to get into that.
You're also very tall, especially for an MMA fighter. I mean, you would have leverage issues all over the place trying to fight male or female in your weight class.
Well, sure. And I'm no expert in MMA. Obviously I'm not. But I'm not sure how many cross-sex MMA fights there have actually been. Do you have a number on that? Because Joe Rogan is right on this subject. Operations, post-op, it doesn't change their bone density. And one of the key differences between estrogen and testosterone, regardless of the person's actual weight, is that estrogen biologically puts some of that extra weight as fat. And for men, for testosterone, it puts it as muscle. I mean, that's simply biology. It's not going to change, especially for someone who is 30 years old, starting to take the alternative sexes, what's the word I'm looking for? Hormones. Well, we'll be back with this because Tom knows quite a lot more about the MMA than I do, so stay tuned. We're going to get back into this, and Tom's going to hit us with some actual facts here on LRN.FM. Oh, God.
Free Talk Live.
Most people think you have to seek out a God for finding meaning in life, but really meaning comes from your awareness that your next move will have a consequence to you, whether good or bad.
The meaning is created by the person having the experience.
It's inside
experiencer.
You. Your awareness that your next move will have a consequence for your positive or negative view of the world. That's where all meaning comes from.
And I fully believe that it's your interpretation of your experiences, how you decide to act as a result of the circumstances that surround you, that will ultimately decide your fate here as far as, will you have a pleasant experience or will it be a hellacious one? I believe that
in heaven and hell, but I believe that they exist every moment. Like you get to choose heaven and hell, and the people that do bad things experience hell because doing bad things results in bad stuff.
But you can always choose otherwise. You can begin at any moment to start over again.
Sinners can be redeemed.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa! Hey! Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom.
Live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting live from the Horizon.global studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. And we are having a discussion, and I don't want us to get too bogged down into the technical aspects of MMA. It's worth mentioning and it's worth discussing, but, there's a much larger issue at stake here. Maybe
well,
not.
I think there is one more MMA specific thing that needs to be said here.
Sure.
And that is, everybody went gaga over this video. Again, it's 4 years old. I don't even know why it's coming up again now.
Yeah, I discussed that during the first segment, that it's very strange that, they just picked this 4-year-old video and was like, I'm going to write an article about this.
Well, it's not that strange because it draws people's attention who don't know any better. But look at the aftermath of any woman versus woman MMA fight that was won by submission via punches, which is how Fallon Fox beat Tamika Brents. And that's what people look like after they get done with an MMA fight. That's what Ronda Rousey looked like when she lost to punches. What? I mean, it's what Conor McGregor looked like the other night when he got his butt beat.
You did read the part
like after they fight.
You did read the part about the concussion and about her skull being broken, right?
Yeah. Happens all the time in MMA. There's a video of a women's fight. I can't remember the name of the fighter.
Yeah, it does not happen all the time.
Yes,
MMA.
it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Happens.
It's
but
why
happens
these people
and happens all the time are two very different things.
It's why these people go 6 months between fights. I mean, Ronda Rousey had a skull injury after one of her fights. There's a video you can find of one of the UFC champions in a match where her ear literally exploded on impact when somebody hit her.
Look, you can throw out all the examples you want. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I said it does not happen all the time. If it happened all the time and getting your skull cracked open and getting a concussion were serious risks of fighting in the MMA, then it would not be allowed. It's simple. The government would not allow it.
Oh, you have to jump through all sorts of licensing hoops for it. I mean, the government doesn't exactly just let it go on. In fact, here's an example. Earlier this year, women's MMA star Tara La Rosa was supposed to fight this internet troll who claimed the actual phrase he used was 99% of men can beat up 99% of women. And like 3 different female MMA fighters.
No, it would be more like 55% and 45%.
Yeah, but I mean, it earned him the attention of several female MMA fighters who all agreed to fight him. And an hour before the fight,
but see, that's people
the Florida Athletic Commission showed up.
That's people misapplying percentages. So even if it's true that 99% of men can beat up 99% of women, having a few select women who are capable, who are not in that 99%, beat up some of the men who are not in that 99% proves absolutely nothing.
It proves that a trained female MMA fighter can fight a trained man.
That's why he said 99% instead of 100%, Tom.
But no, he said it to
why
get
are you taking these gross generalizations and confusing them for absolute fact?
I'm not claiming it's a fact. I'm saying that him making that claim is why so many women were willing to fight him. But what happened was that after the fight was agreed to, an hour before the match, the Florida Athletic Commission showed up and stopped the fight because they wouldn't let him fight because they knew he was going to get beat up. So then they had an unsanctioned match, and guess what? Tara LaRosa beat the stuffing out of him.
Yeah, again, and I don't doubt that it happened, but it's proof of nothing. It's absolutely
exactly
proof
what I'm
of
saying.
nothing.
It's proof of exactly what I'm saying.
It's proof of exactly what I said, which is that some women are going to be stronger than the average man. But at the end of the day, the strongest man is still stronger than the average woman.
Strength has very little to do with it. It has to do with training, and it has to do with striking ability. And those aren't just functions of sheer physical strength. I mean, a person who is trained to throw a punch, regardless of how much they can lift at the gym or what their body fat percentage is, will outpunch someone who is not properly trained to throw a punch every time. A person
Tom, that has
who is a
nothing
world-class
to do with
striker.
Tom, that has nothing to do with the issue at hand.
It has everything to do with the issue at hand.
It does not, because we're talking about gender and sex. We're not talking about training.
We're talking about training. We're talking about MMA.
No, Tom, you are obsessed with that aspect of it, and that's why I said I did not want to get bogged into it. Did you know?
The important aspect
you know how
of it.
girls throw, right? That is 100%.
Depends on how they're trained.
That's exactly what I'm about to say. It is 100% a function of training. Guys are taught to throw from earlier ages, so they're taught to put their whole bodies into it and all of that. Girls are not. You can train girls to throw baseballs as much as you want, but the world's fastest male pitcher will always be better than the world's fastest female pitcher. And when I say better, I'm meaning faster. Always.
Yeah, speed isn't everything.
That's not the point, Tom.
A skilled female pitcher could still strike out an MLB hitter.
Yes, but if you put a female pitcher against a male pitcher and had them play their games, the team with the male pitcher would win 99% of the time.
If anything, that's just a function of it being a top 1%er male versus a top 1%er female. It doesn't mean anything in the aggregate. Plus, that's not even a metric when it comes to fighting. I mean, again, we're talking about this transgender person in particular.
Transsexual.
Has been beaten by a woman via the same way that she knocked out this woman that everybody's going gaga over. She looked roughly the same after the fight as Tamika Brents did, because that's what someone looks like after they've been punched out in an MMA fight.
Look, no one has, that I'm aware of, has made the claim that it was impossible for a woman to beat this man. I certainly didn't make the claim. The article didn't make that claim. What we said was that Fallon Fox had an unfair inherent advantage. We didn't say that advantage could not be overcome. Now, if you want to deny that fact because, I don't know, some gender doesn't exist or sex doesn't exist thing, that's fine. But the fact will remain that he had an unfair advantage over his opponent. Her opponent, whatever.
Maybe in this fight, maybe against this opponent.
In every
against
fight.
Ashley Evans. Against Ashley Evans Smith, Fox clearly didn't.
Look, if I'm going back to
lost.
chess, if I'm that doesn't mean anything. If I'm cheating in a chess tournament by using a
computer,
computer,
what do you mean it doesn't mean anything that she got knocked out the exact?
If I'm cheating at a chess tournament using a computer that nobody knows about, it doesn't mean I don't have an unfair advantage if I go up against Gary Kasparov and he manages to beat me. I still had an unfair advantage. He was able to overcome that advantage, but I still had an unfair advantage. Something inherent that he did not have. Something that would be qualified as cheating by any reasonable metric.
And I'm saying that you are vastly overrating the importance of the specific biological components you're talking about when it comes to MMA. I mean, let's just look at an example of men versus men.
Are you really going to make the argument that a person's physique is irrelevant in a combat sport? Because that's what you
I'm
just
not going to
said.
say it's. I'm not going to say it's irrelevant, but it's far from determinate. For instance, do you know what Brock Lesnar's MMA record is?
No.
Last time I checked, it was 3-3. Brock Lesnar is one of the top physical specimens in all of sports, perhaps of all time. He has because he is in the heavyweight category, there is no weight limit on who might have to fight him. He has lost to TKO twice and a submission once in his career. He's 5-3 with 1 no decision. Because guess what? He had to cheat to compete with somebody who was better trained than him at once. It's not determinate. It's just not.
Well, we'll be back with more of this discussion on LRN.FM, so stay tuned.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting as always from the Horizon.Global studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. Beautiful and cold Keene, New Hampshire. It's like 40 degrees. Look, I'm from Mississippi. It's barely 40 degrees in the middle of January. It's mid-October and it's already 42 degrees. It's horrifyingly cold. Like, I bought a sweater like 3 weeks ago that, you know, it would get me through the whole winter in Mississippi. It's already time to be replaced with something thicker and heavier. It's depressing. I hate cold. I was remarking to someone, what the hell am I doing in New Hampshire? It is 40 degrees already. So that's fun. But so I've been looking around on a website called Quora, which is something that I no longer use for reasons I don't really want to get into. Basically, I got banned because some anti-Trump troll was going, but Trump really is a racist and we can prove it. And this is totally different from how we're always calling Republicans racist. I was like, okay, well, give me one example of how he's racist. And when she was unable to do it, I told her she was full of crap and doing exactly what, you know, she had said she wasn't doing. And I ended up getting banned for 30 days. So I told Quora to screw it. But it's a question and answer forum, basically. And a lot of people have asked questions along these lines regarding the MMA. Here's one. Does size matter in an MMA fight? Second Dan, an Okinawan Kempo karate kickboxer, kung fu artist, film and TV shows guy, William Joseph Hill, says it definitely does.
Well, obviously size matters. That's why if you were going to have an MMA fight between a man and a woman, you'd want to have them in the same weight class. Generally.
Yeah, but we can't pretend like
even that wouldn't.
We can't pretend like weight and size. I got into an argument with one of the guys from the Atheist Experience once because he compared the pyramid at the Luxor in Las Vegas to the Great Pyramid in Giza, and I pointed out to him I don't remember what exact word he used. I think he said size or something like that. I pointed out to him that, you know, he's looking at one dimension of the total measurements that we mean when we talk about size. And the fact of the matter is that the Great Pyramid, its scale, its size compared to the pyramid at Luxor is like the Memphis Pyramid versus the one in Egypt. It's just drastically different. And sure, they may have the same height and the same width, but the mass, the bulk, the size, they're totally different.
Sure, and bulk goes both ways in fighting sports. Because a bulkier person is often going to be less flexible, which can be determinant, especially when it comes to submission.
Sure, I used to kickbox, and being lithe would be the word I would use, was a distinct advantage some of the time. Other times it was not.
Whereas in an MMA fight, that's just more the longer limbs for somebody to get hold of. Easier to put a knee bar on somebody with more height, and also stress on the knees would be more debilitating to them. A good example of this, by the way, and I started to talk about this before the break, is Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is about to fight Daniel Cormier, who is the UFC heavyweight champion. Daniel Cormier fights at about 246 when he's a heavyweight. Now, he has the distinction of being both heavyweight and light heavyweight champion, which means he also fights at 205. Very different scenario there. But Brock Lesnar normally walks around at 285 pounds. For MMA, he will slim down, quote-unquote, to 265. Daniel Cormier is almost universally considered a heavy favorite in that match.
Again, Tom, this is the technicality stuff that I really did not want to get into.
It's not really that
we're
much
not
of
a sports
technicality,
show.
because you're
talking
about
with.
But we're talking about a sport, and we have to look.
No,
when
we're not talking about a
thing that
sport.
happened
We're
in a
talking about
sport.
transsexualism and the differences between sex and gender and the effects those might have on physiological sports. We're not talking about a sport.
On a specific sport.
Yeah, but you're
UFC.
zeroing in on like this one little tiny segment.
I'm zeroing in on the actual sport and the match specifically we're talking about, which it was an MMA match
then
that
let's
ended
go to
in a TKO by
let's go
punches.
to the all right. Then let's go to the male to female wrestler in Texas who won the state championship against her female opponents. Because you certainly can't say that testosterone provides no advantage whatsoever in wrestling.
I never said it provided no advantage whatsoever. I said it wasn't determinate.
I'm not saying it's determinate either. All I ever said was that it's an unfair advantage.
See, and that, for it to be unfair, it would have to be determinate.
No, it wouldn't.
It's an advantage. Well, then why is it unfair? Why is it unfair for the person with more musculature to have an advantage?
It's not musculature we're talking about. It's testosterone, which leads to more efficient musculature, and yes,
so it is musculature we're talking about,
and more musculature. But we're talking about an inherent advantage that one person has that their competition does not have. How can
most people at the highest level of sports have some advantage?
Winning is not what determines whether or not something is fair. Just because, look, if I win something, and that's the most bizarre thing I've ever heard you say, in fact. If I'm cheating at a game, just because I lose doesn't mean I was being fair. It doesn't mean I wasn't being unfair. I can still have an unfair advantage and still lose. It's called overcoming an unfair advantage. We've got countless examples of that happening in sports.
Sure, and just because you win a lot and it's because of something you were born with doesn't mean it's unfair. It means you were born with it.
No, I'm saying it's unfair because I am aware personally of how testosterone affects muscle mass and how estrogen affects muscle mass. And
but
when
are
we're talking
you aware
about
of what muscle mass means for MMA? That's the key component.
And that's you
of.
zeroing in on this tiny little slice of what we're talking about and using it to nullify everything else I'm saying.
Slice? I didn't know we were talking about Kimbo Slice.
No, we're talking about transsexualism and the effects that hormones have that might provide one person an unfair advantage in a competitive physiological sport versus a person who does not have those hormones.
Why is it unfair?
You keep going, but in MMA, muscle mass isn't all that matters. And Tom, that's like totally unrelated to what we're actually discussing. We've already admitted that. We've moved on from that. I've already said, fine, it's not determinate. It's still an unfair advantage. You said, but she didn't win every single match. That doesn't mean it's not unfair.
But why is it unfair? You've identified an advantage.
It's unfair because she has this innate biological characteristic that gives her more strength, more speed, more flexibility, more physical prowess versus her opponents.
So do most successful athletes. I mean, people, sure, we love the image of the hardworking blue-collar guy who manages to go from the lunch pail to the NFL lineman.
You know, most athletes do have that, and that's why we've already clarified that women can become excellent athletes. But the world record for high jumping, the men's record, is still going to be higher than the women's record. The men's record for the 100-meter dash is still going to be faster than the women's 100-meter record. Now, you can go, oh, well, maybe she should have trained better, all you want. And sure, we're discussing 100-meter dashes there instead of just raw muscle mass or raw combat prowess, whatever. You can say, but she should have trained better, all she wanted. But at the end of the day, the men are still running faster. They're still jumping higher. They're still lifting more weight than the women.
Sure, and those are all advantages. But why would they be unfair?
They would only be unfair if the men are competing against the women and going, oh, no, this is totally fair, honey. You should have trained harder. That would be what makes it unfair. But for the men to take their advantage over there and compete against each other, that's one thing. For the women to take their not advantage over there and compete against one another, that's another thing. But for the men and the women, One side who has this innate biological tendency to be faster, stronger, and more efficient than the other side to compete against each other and claim to be fair is totally not. It's anything but.
But no one made Tamika Brents take this fight.
No, they didn't. And I'm not saying I'm not saying the trans MMA fighter cheated. I'm not saying there was anything untoward here. All I've said was that the trans person had an unfair advantage over the non-trans person. And sure, maybe Brents thought that she could overcome that unfair advantage, but clearly she couldn't.
Well, clearly not. She's also not that good a fighter. She's 2-3 professionally, and this was actually the slowest loss that she's ever had. It took Fallon Fox longer to knock her out than it took 2 women to knock her out.
Well, that's funny. Well, I guess this issue will go unresolved, except possibly...
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, October 18th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.54 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,225 per ounce. Zen is trading at $14, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,527. Antiwar.com reports Afghan parliamentary candidate Abdul Jabbar Kahraman was killed Wednesday in a bombing attack in Helmand province. The bomb was planted under his office chair, killing him and 3 other people in the room. He is the 10th candidate killed in the past 2 months. Kahraman was behind the creation of the Sangorian Militia, a group that works with the Afghan spy agencies to try to infiltrate the Taliban. This has unsurprisingly made them a popular target for the Taliban attacks. The Taliban was quick to take credit for this attack as well, saying Kahraman is a renowned socialist. The Afghan Interior Ministry reported 3 suspects have been arrested in the attack. With just a few days left before the election, a recent spate of attacks on candidates and rallies seems to be on the upswing. Both the Taliban and the Islamic State are calling for people to boycott the election, and such attacks clearly send a message that going to the polls is dangerous. In 1999, Daryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Daryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports President Donald Trump on Wednesday called for cabinet members to institute budget cuts of at least 5% for their departments next year. Speaking to the press before a cabinet meeting, Trump said he would ask every secretary to make a cut of 5%, if not more, in 2019 after data released by the Treasury Department on Monday showed the U.S. budget deficit rose to its highest level in 6 years. Trump added the Defense Department's budget will probably be $700 billion, down from its current funding at $716 billion. Trump said during the meeting, "Get rid of the fat, get rid of the waste. It will have a huge impact." On Monday, the Treasury released data showing the U.S. budget deficit rose to $779 billion in fiscal year 2018, the highest level since 2012. The Republican tax bill, bipartisan spending increases, and rising interest payments on the national debt were cited as reasons for the growing deficit. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell told Bloomberg the increased deficit was a result of bipartisan unwillingness to cut spending on Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security.
Zencash is now Horizen. Horizen is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizen platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizen will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizen, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizen.global. HORIZEN.global.
Reuters reports Manhattan federal prosecutor said on Wednesday that a U.S. Treasury Department official has been criminally charged with leaking confidential documents related to former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort and others to a reporter from digital media group BuzzFeed. Natalie Mae Edwards, senior advisor in the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, was arrested on Tuesday and charged with unauthorized disclosure of suspicious activity reports and with conspiracy, according to the Office of U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman. Both charges carry a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. Manafort and his longtime associate Rick Gates have pled guilty to criminal charges and agreed to cooperate in special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into whether President Donald Trump's 2016 campaign coordinated with Russia. Prosecutors said Edwards leaked documents that became the basis of BuzzFeed articles about that investigation. In federal court in Alexandria, Virginia, U.S. Magistrate Judge Teresa Buchanan ordered that Edwards be released after surrendering her passport and posting a $100,000 bond. Stephen Hudak, spokesman for FinCEN, said Edwards had been placed on administrative leave. In an interview with federal investigators on Tuesday, Edwards said she was a whistleblower who made the disclosure for record keeping, according to a criminal complaint filed by prosecutors. Information from the disclosure was reported in 11 articles that appeared in BuzzFeed over the course of a year. Prosecutors said beginning in October 2017, Edwards disclosed suspicious activity reports connected to Manafort, Gates, accused Russian agent Maria Butina, the Russian embassy, and a unit of Prevezon Holding Ltd. Prosecutors said Edwards saved the confidential reports on a flash drive and sent them to BuzzFeed reporters using an encrypted message application. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A report confirms that many Iraqis are still holding a petty grudge about the U.S. invasion. An advanced alien civilization discovers an uninhabitable planet, and a single woman has a Facebook profile picture with her sister. This is the Onion Week in Review. A groundbreaking study published Monday in the Journal of the American Medical Association confirmed that it is impossible to lose weight. No one has ever done it, and those who are trying should give up immediately. Researchers said that findings conclusively prove that shedding excess weight has never happened, changing your physical appearance is impossible, and that all sorts of exercises, personal training regimens, and diets will never, ever work.
Well, our test results conclusively prove that if you're going to the gym to lose weight, you will fail. You could work out every day and eat nothing and you still wouldn't lose an ounce. Skinny people will stay skinny, overweight people will be overweight. It's just how it is.
In other news, an area man is outraged his private information is being collected by someone other than advertisers. And a crowd cheers as this 93-year-old fuck-up finally graduates from college.
This is the Onion News Network.
The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
That's right. Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting live from the Horizon.global studio. It is now time for the Crypto Hour, brought to you by MotionProject.org. Motion Project is essentially the GoFundMe of cryptocurrency, allowing people to facilitate the creation of projects that they like and that they want to see come to fruition, allowing for milestones and things like that to be determined and voted upon by the community. And when those milestones are met, the creators of the project will actually be paid. It's a pretty cool thing, aiming to prevent any more mighty number 9s from happening, which I think is a good thing. But in crypto news, 2 U.S. states have issued cease and desist orders against 5 ICO issuers. Colorado and North Dakota have independently issued C&D orders against companies promoting initial coin offerings in their states. The tokens are potentially fraudulent securities offerings, according to the 2 states' security commissions. One scheme promises a return of 10% per month and claims to be pegged to the price of gold. Gold coin. I would love that.
Another one of those.
Yeah, you got to wonder how a cryptocurrency or any sort of currency is actually supposed to be genuinely pegged to any sort of commodity.
Giggity.
If we find, 2 tons of gold, will they create by fiat some new cryptocurrency? Because finding 2 tons would, necessarily deflate the value of gold. Inflate. Yeah, it would.
Well, I don't know about 2 tons. There's
it would
there's a whole lot of
to
gold
some degree. Not necessarily like 1% or anything like that, but sure, finding any amounts of gold would affect the price or the value of gold. So how would the cryptocurrency handle that? Is what I've always wondered about Nubits and these other tethers that are supposedly pegged to the dollar. So if there was a contraction of the Federal Reserve regulated economy, and suddenly there was yet less USD running around, which has happened in the past, would they simply destroy people's currencies? I don't think that they would. Yeah, I don't think that. Well, that's what the Fed would do. And if they're genuinely pegged to the dollar, then they would have to do something to ensure that their coin still had the same relative value. I think if anything, it's an argument against pegging one thing to the value of another thing. But all of that aside, the Colorado Securities Commissioner Gerald Rome signed 2 final orders on October the 12th, directing a pair of companies to cease and desist offering or settling unregistered securities in the form of ICOs in his states. Devor, which issues Devor Coin, shocking that that's a scam, and Cyber Capital Invest, which offers the CCI token, received the orders as a result of an investigation into potentially fraudulent security offerings in Colorado God, they need an editor so badly. According to the regulator, the ICOs offered by the 2 companies are not registered, or exempt from registration. Well, I think they made themselves exempt, in fact. Who cares? They're not registered in Colorado, so they must be fraudulent. That's weak reasoning. They're not registered in Colorado because Colorado sucks. They can't even pass pot legalization correctly. Or was that Oklahoma? It was Oklahoma. Colorado did do it sort of correctly. They were one of the firsts, weren't they?
Yeah, them in Washington.
Yeah. Well, DevaCoin's website describes the token as a new cryptocurrency aiming to become an alternative to coins such as Bitcoin and Ether, noting the securities division explained, investors were promised returns as high as 10% per month for participating in a staking pool, and were told that Devor coins are pegged to the price of gold and can be traded on exchanges. That should have raised all sorts of red flags for people. I'm sure it didn't, because they just saw 10% per month. I need to throw my money into that. But anyone who promises you any sort of concrete return like that they're just trying to get your money. And pegging it to the price of gold, which, as we began discussing, that's an interesting concept. And I would be interested to see the underlying plans that they have in order to ensure that their coin remains pegged to the value of something else, considering that the value of the something else can just as easily change because of the quantity available and the demand for it. Essentially, the demand and supply can change. And if those change, then the value of something pegged to the initial thing's value, this is getting kind of confusing. Yeah, sorry about that.
Aria, you keep using the word pegged, and I already gave it 1 giggity.
I thought it was my overusage of the word things that had you just...
No, it's pegged.
Pegged. I don't know.
Giggity.
Pegging does not... Oh, God, that does sound bad. Pegging. What does that mean sexually? Do I want to know? It sounds like it means something. I would be shocked if that didn't mean something.
I'm shocked you don't know.
I probably do, and I'm just not thinking about it.
Well, I'll tell you at the break.
Okay, fair enough. North Dakota, on the other hand, has targeted 3 ICOs. The orders resulted from investigations that are part of Operation Crypto Sweep, a coordination investigation and enforcement effort involving over 40 United States and Canadian securities regulators. Why are there over 40 of them? Does that not seem strange to anyone?
I guess the governor has more than 40 buddies.
In August, there were more than 200 crypto-related cases being investigated and 46 enforcement actions taken. The commission named the companies. It's really not important. None of that's really important. Crystal Token's website contains allegedly fraudulent statements with claims of excessive, unsubstantiated returns on investment, fails to provide sufficient disclosure of the management team's credentials, and purposely withholds their identities. Oh no, I can only imagine what they would do if they heard about Zencash, Horizon, or Monero. Or did you know that the person who created Bitcoin has purposely withheld their identity? Clearly, it's fraudulent. And who cares? What do they mean by credentials of the management team? That could mean anything. And when I see, who was it that we had on? AirSwap, I think, who wanted to come on and just cite all of their happy little credentials. And I was like, hey, we don't really care. That's not what we're interested in. We're not care how many years you worked at this bank or you were the senior partner at this attorney's law firm. We don't care about any of that. What we want to know is what your token does, why it does it well, and why we should care. Apparently, our interests, our cares, our concerns are drastically different from those of the government. And the government sees fit to just, target ICOs at random, essentially because they're not regulated and licensed, which is kind of what we want ICOs to be, is unregulated, unlicensed, because we want to regulate them ourselves. Well, we'll be back with the crypto news. Apparently, there is a war on Bitcoin, so stay tuned here on LRN.FM.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
You're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting live from the Horizon.Global studio. It is the Crypto Hour, and I was really hoping that song was going to do something more interesting than that, but apparently it's just going to be 3 minutes of that same 4 measures repeated over and over. But as we were hinting at before the break, according to Bitcoin.com, there is a war on Bitcoin, and I think that this is probably going to be the first example of pro-crypto FUD that we've ever seen. It reminds me a lot of Fox News and how they are constantly declaring various wars. First there was a war on men, then a war on women, then a war on Christmas, then a war on Santa, then a war on... Oh, God, I can't even think of them all. But they've had at least 10 different wars that they've imagined. And it seems that Bitcoin.com is, they want to continue that proud tradition of partisan people proclaiming the existence of wars. Apparently, American Express's decision to promote a tweet. Okay, let's stop right there. Okay. Their first example of this war on Bitcoin is American Express promoting a tweet.
Well, that is
I'm
how
speechless.
we wage war these days, I guess.
I wish that was how we waged war these days. It's how bored white people wage war. But their decision to promote a tweet emphasizing the energy consumption of proof-of-work cryptocurrencies has been met with astonishment, with the Bitcoin Reddit describing the act as anti-crypto propaganda. As one Redditor quipped, we've moved into the then they fight you with crappy marketing phase. That's an expression I've always taken issue with because it's just like, first they fight you, then they hate you, then they laugh at you, whatever, all of these things, and then they join you. It seems you're missing some steps there.
Probably. Just a few.
Mining is the most widely misunderstood component of Bitcoin, and one which the media and corporations consistently get wrong, be it through ignorance or ulterior motives. The tweet they promoted is, the cryptocurrency industry is using more energy than all the world's electric vehicles, researchers say. That's it. That's the tweet. And they provided the source for the article. So, I haven't checked the source, and just because they provided a source certainly doesn't mean it's true. In fact, I got into a lengthy argument with this idiot on YouTube once about this. He made this video called 30 Little Known Facts about the U.S., right? And he had stolen it from someone else. He was not the originator of the video. But it had bizarre, contradictory claims in it. Like, one of them was that the United States is just a British corporation. And he pointed to this obscure piece of legislation from, 1817.
Demonstrating that he doesn't know the difference between a modern corporation and the old corporate charters under the crown.
Well, beyond that,
ironically,
it's way worse than that. Because I checked out the source, which was freely available online by Googling it, and what I found was that it was a shipping log or something like that about the U.S. receiving some shipments from England at the time, and it had absolutely nothing to do with what this guy said it did.
Yeah, because he didn't know the difference between old school corporate charters and modern ones.
It wasn't a charter in any sense. It was just a shipping manifest. That's all it was. It wasn't about corporations or anything. It was entirely unrelated. It was just some random source that somebody found and slapped into their video, assuming that, nobody would bother to check it out. They would just see that there was a source and would go, oh, well, it must be true. And I pointed out to this guy that the source he was citing didn't say anything that he was claiming it did. He was like, but I provided the sources. You can check it out yourself. And I said, I did check it out myself. And what I'm telling you is that it doesn't say what you're citing. Yes, it does. You just need to read it. I did read it. Have you? And nothing I could say to him would get it to his thick, stupid skull that citing a source, a random source, does not prove that the source actually says what you're saying it does. So I'm not saying that the source provided by Bloomberg New Energy, it's even misspelled, Finance, there's one too many A's in there, says what the tweet here claims that it says, especially considering they can't spell finance. In fact, it probably doesn't. But I am saying that American Express promoting a tweet, bizarre though that is, it's not even that bizarre. They're competitors with cryptocurrency. Of course they're going to promote any sort of anti-cryptocurrency thing that they can. They're competitors. American Express, Visa, MasterCard, they hate cryptocurrency because cryptocurrency is attempting to do the very same things that they do. Digital processing of transactions. As news.bitcoin.com recently badly wrote, You'll often hear from mainstream media and uninformed economists that Bitcoin burns more energy than a whole country. Sure, that may be Cambodia or Laos or something. And while that accusation is far from the truth, well, it depends on the country, really. As we've explained before, you'll be surprised to hear something you are not being told. It's way better to burn excess energy than waste it. I have never thought about that before. Tom, carry it for a minute while I try to think my way through that.
Well, yeah, what they're saying is that...
what they're saying is gluttony. That if you have too much food, it's better to
that was quick.
It's better to overeat than it is to throw it away.
Yeah, with the difference being that while there are ill health effects for gluttony, not so much for using energy that has already been generated.
Well, I would disagree. Because if you do send that food back or you throw that food away or whatever, you're signaling to the cook that they're making too much food. So if we don't use that energy, we're signaling to the energy companies that they're making too much energy and they would tone it down and in that particular worldview have less of an impact on the environment.
I guess not.
So I don't know. I think it would probably be better to waste it than to use it. I mean, just because I have an excess of gas doesn't mean I need to drive around my car all freaking night getting high. I used to do that, and it was quite a lot of fun.
I think with the way that energy is generated is what they're saying, that once it's generated, it's already there.
Is it, though?
Yeah, kind of is.
Well, our own Rebecca Mera takes us on a tour of the Olympic Village.
We have a full-size bed, lounge area, shower, plenty of space, which is great because I'm constantly having sex in there.
The Village is a temporary home to the world's most physically impressive athletic men and women. It was important to the Olympic Committee to give them a comfortable, state-of-the-art area to each other's brains out while they're not competing.
We have a pool where they can have a sex, a theater where they can have a sex. All these athletes are hot, horny, ready to go. They deserve the best.
I was in Vancouver where I got eaten out by this French speed skater. And I have to say, these facilities are even better, and I'm going to try to a Japanese guy.
You've spared no expense.
These athletes deserve the best. They sacrifice so much for their countries. They deserve to be able to until their and can't take it anymore.
And these facilities won't go to waste. Once the Olympics are over, they'll be converted to a resort where Russian businessmen can come to their prostitutes.
This is the Onion News Network.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Don't worry about things you can't control. Isn't that what they always say? But it's about impossible to avoid worrying about what's going on these days. The government has used the war on guns, the war on drugs, and the war on terrorism to tear our Bill of Rights to shreds. But you can fight back. The 10th Amendment Center has proven it, racking up major victories. For example, when the U.S. government claimed authority in the NDAA to have the military kidnap and detain Americans without trial, the nullifiers got a law passed in California, declaring the state's refusal to ever participate in any such thing. Their latest project is offnow.org, nullifying the National Security Agency. They've already gotten model legislation introduced in California, Arizona, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas, meant to limit the power of the NSA to spy on Americans in those states. We'd be fools to wait around for the U.S. Congress or courts to roll back Big Brother. Our best chance is nullification and interposition on the state level. Go to offnow.org, print out that model legislation, and get to work nullifying the NSA. The hero Edward Snowden has risked everything to give us this chance. Let's take it. Offnow.org.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.FM पे।
Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting live from the Horizon.global studio. It is the Crypto Hour brought to you by motionproject.org, essentially functioning as the GoFundMe of cryptocurrency and using built-in milestones and only releasing funds upon the completion of those milestones in order to prevent another Mighty Number 9 fiasco from happening.
Okay, Mighty Number 9. Can you explain that one for...
Oh, good Lord. There's so much background there. Okay, so this guy who claimed to be the father of Mega Man, but totally wasn't the father of Mega Man, he just sort of inherited it, left Capcom and decided he wanted to reboot the Mega Man series under a new name because Capcom wasn't doing anything with it. So he was going to make this new game called Mighty Number 9. It was the most successful Kickstarter at the time in Kickstarter history. It raised, I think it was 4 times the amount of money that it was aiming to raise, with over $4 million raised. And over, they kept asking for more money. They had all of these milestones that for every $200,000 they received past their initial requirement, they were going to add DLC and bonus bosses and port it to the Wii U and the 3DS and all of these other things. They made so many promises, right? And it's the purest example of a game developer promising way too much without having any idea of how to actually deliver on these things. So while he's doing this, he wants, the people who funded this Kickstarter, they just wanted a game. But the guy behind it, Keiji Inafune, he wanted to create a multimedia empire spanning comic books and anime and music and all sorts of things. So he starts Kickstarter projects to fund those things, and he's asking for money from his original Kickstarter supporters on the side, and they're just burning through this money, delaying, and people are starting to get really curious about where all of this money is going and why so many of these promises are going unfulfilled. And then the game finally releases years after it was supposed to have released, and it was bad. And this guy said during the live stream event, it's better than nothing. And it's often attributed to Keiji Inafune, but it actually, because it was his translator who said that, but it actually came directly from the translator. Inafune never said that. So that's good at least. But they also did the whole make the bad guys cry like an anime fan on prom night thing. which I'm sure even you heard about, even if you weren't following the fiasco that closely.
I'm completely lost. What?
Okay, so they did this, one of the commercials for their game, it featured gameplay footage and this narrator who said, "You'll make the bad guys cry like an anime fan on prom night." And it went over exactly as well as you would expect it to. Even
With
Geico.
a video game crowd, yeah, why would you do that?
Well, even Geico got in on it and ripping these people apart. Yeah, and meanwhile, he's trying to create a new anime series, right? So, I mean, the dude is totally tone deaf. And in also his defense, it was not his idea or even his company's idea. It was their publisher's idea, which, by the way, is its own issue that they went to this external publisher who had their own contracts, their own way of doing things in order to get their game funded to completion. And they just sort of abandoned all of their Kickstarter promises. So there were suddenly two versions of the game, the Kickstarter version and the Deep Silver version, which actually came like any sort of video game that you buy at the store. So Kickstarter people wanted to know, hey, are we going to get this copy for free? And they're like, no, you have to go to the store and buy that one for $60, just like everyone else, if you want it. So it was the most mismanaged thing in video game history so far. Well, I don't know. The mismanagement of Sega during the mid-90s is pretty close. But I mean, it crashed and burned spectacularly. And it was all because there were, and isn't, any sort of requirement that these people actually deliver on the promises they're making. Now, what Motion Project attempts to do is they have milestones. You have to have at least 3 of them in order to even make your project. So, for example, Mighty Number 9 might have, okay, on this day, we're going to release the alpha build of the game to all of our funders. And when they do that, the people will use their Motion coin and the built-in mechanism to vote and say, okay, this milestone has been met. We got the game. And at that point, the Motion coins will be released to the project developer, but not before then. And if there is some dispute, then there are community managers and things like that who will look into it and determine who is actually right and whether or not the milestone was met and things like that. But basically, they're attempting to solve that problem of people making promises they can't possibly keep and requiring that they break those down into various milestones and achieve them before they can even be paid. Yeah, No Man's Sky was pretty bad.
Terrible.
Letter May just correct about that. Oh, yeah, God. But, you know, that one was just overhyped. Well, you know, that's equally true of Mighty Number 9. It was overhyped. But it was, yeah. That's a good question. Which one of those was more overhyped and was more of a disappointment? Mighty Number 9 or No Man's Sky?
You see, the only reference I can give is that I had heard of No Man's Sky. And I'm not like a hardcore gamer by any means, but I had heard of it, whereas I'd never heard of Mighty Number before now. I was looking forward to trying No Man's Sky. Didn't have that issue with Mighty Number 9 because I had never heard of it till now.
Well, one of the interesting things I've always found about this whole procedural generation thing is that, you know, it sounds great on the back of a box. You know, Minecraft's procedurally generated worlds, it sounds so awesome. But once you've seen one of them, you've seen all of them. And that's true of No Man's Sky's billions upon billions of stars and planets and all of that. Once you've seen one of them, you've pretty much seen them all. I've never played No Man's Sky. I have no intention of playing it. It's not my kind of game. You know, I'll play Dwarf Fortress, I'll play Minecraft, and I'll play a lot of Binding of Isaac. We just use their music. I'll play a lot of procedurally generated games. I don't have an issue with the idea. But No Man's Sky certainly promised a lot more than their team of 15 could deliver.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like the kind of game that I wanted to play. I'd still be willing to try it. Except that every time I go to look for it to be quote-unquote on sale, it's still $30 or more. Which for a game that failed as spectacularly as it did is just arrogant.
Yeah. Yeah, video game pricing is so out of whack anyway, though. I've talked about it before, and I can't say it enough, but why PC games are suddenly $60 infuriates me. The entire reason cartridge games were $60 while PlayStation and the original Xbox games were $50 was because cartridges were more expensive to manufacture. But then Sony and Microsoft saw that Nintendo was getting away with selling their games for $60, right? So they raised their price and they said, okay, we're going to call these licensing fees, which PC didn't have. You had to pay your $10 fee in order to license your game for Sony and Microsoft. Fine, okay, it's justified, but PC doesn't have anything like that. In fact, it's the cheapest distribution platform out there using Steam. But no, suddenly, as about 2 years ago, PC games became $60 each. And I would say that it started with the Dragon Age Inquisition type of games because Civilization V was $50 and that wasn't that long ago. But then suddenly they were 60 and it's crap and it needs to change. We'll be back, more ranting here on The Call to Freedom in just a few minutes.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.fm.
Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. It is the Crypto Hour brought to you by MotionProject.org. And as we spent most of the last segment discussing, they are essentially the GoFundMe of cryptocurrency, aiming to prevent another mighty number 9 from happening. So I was ranting before we went out to the break. I don't recall exactly what I was ranting about. I think it was the price of PC games, but there's not much left there for me to say. So what's up, Tom?
Oh, well, we've got one more segment of Crypto Hour here. I was,
right?
I blankificated.
Well, I mean, there's so little happening in cryptocurrency lately.
Well, there's not a lot happening on the public side. On the private side, there continues to be almost fervent development. I mean, we were talking about this today at work. So we have a blockchain based project that we're working on.
Oh, interesting.
That is targeted towards our main client base, which is the media advertising industry, and it basically has to do with using blockchain transactions to make it cheaper to sell commercials on parts of the broadcast calendar that are usually hard to sell commercials on, especially late night. And the level of excitement about it basically has to do with the fact that without people involved, with doing everything via the blockchain, and with total transparency, you avoid the problem of advertising fraud. Like thinking that you're buying an ad spot in the middle of Conan O'Brien's show, and somehow you end up during the 5th rerun of Sanford and Sons at 3 a.m. Or like on the internet side, this is where ad fraud is really, really bad. Is you buy you buy advertising space that's supposed to be targeted at a given audience, and then one day you're surfing around and you read a story about neo-Nazi-dating.org, and you're like, that sounds horrible. I'm going to go look and see what it is. And there's your ad in the middle of the page. And you're like, what the crap? And they're like, well,
that whole thing caused a lot of YouTubers to get butthurt recently.
With people...
advertisers like, well, we don't want our advertisers running on controversial videos, and they went, we're being censored.
Yeah, well, no, you're not being censored. In fact, the people who were selling ads on your crap channel were defrauding people, claiming that they were getting premium space on YouTube, and in fact, it was your stupid channel. So
very true.
You want to be Mr. Libertarian out there, well, guess what? It's not very libertarian to defraud people. Just saying. And yet that's the kind of thing that they think blockchain can fix, because everybody can see the blockchain. Everybody knows what's going down. So we're working on a project on that. But, the past couple of weeks, or really over the last month, I've gone to 3 different legal conferences. Mostly been in the room with lawyers who serve big business in the United States. I mean, they make significantly more money than I will ever see in my lifetime, those kinds of lawyers. And all of them are looking for, what is going to be the hot use of blockchain technology that takes hold. All of their clients are looking for it. So the mainstream is still looking for its inroad to the blockchain space. They're looking for blockchain's inroad to them. What can the blockchain do for us is what they're all asking. But you don't see as much of that in the media, and we were talking about this today. Well, our new sales guy asked me, if we're pitching a blockchain solution to people, then how do we explain, how are we hedging against this, the massive price influxes that go on in the blockchain space? And I said, we're keeping the noobs out of it. I didn't call them noobs in professional business conversation, but that's basically what I said. I said the reason that the blockchain, or that the markets have been so volatile, is because of people buying in, trying to make a quick buck without understanding the technology. And we're talking about a closed infrastructure where we control everyone who has access to it. And when you exercise that kind of control over who is and isn't, part of the sandbox,
giggity,
then you keep the newbies out. Yeah, giggity. We're keeping the bad people out of our box. It's always good. It's always good to keep bad people out of your box. So, that's
unless they're going to peg your box.
It's usually
yeah.
not.
Then you wouldn't want the bad people in there anyway. Okay, your point stands.
Yeah, it's usually not the box that's getting pegged. It's the brown. Anyway, so that's not so much what's going on in blockchain in crypto news. It's what does the world at large see in blockchain technology? Where is it ultimately going? And in a way, it's good for blockchain to be looking away from the crypto world, because cryptocurrency is its own blockchain implementation. It's its own use. It's something very distinct. Whereas blockchain technology has almost endless applications. Anywhere that you would normally use a ledger, you can use the blockchain. And most of the places you're going to use a ledger, the blockchain is the better solution. But as blockchain technology matures, it'll bring cryptocurrency technology along with it, I think. That'll be a positive development for everybody. Now, you won't have the kinds of crazy, irrational investment that you get in the blockchain space now, or in the crypto space now, but you'll have more sound investors who know what they're actually looking for and who aren't chasing the quick buck, and that's a healthier environment for cryptocurrency to grow up in. I wouldn't call that a rant so much.
No, but it sounds really cool.
A perspective. Yeah. So, and I think what was really there was a moment at one of the CLEs I went to down in Knoxville where this old codger, dude probably shouldn't be practicing law anymore. He's too out of touch with, the universe and himself to really be hanging about. But during the blockchain panel, he raised his hand to, ask a question, quote unquote, but his question was more of a statement, and his statement was more of wanting to hear himself talk. And he just went on and on and on about, well, this is just a fad, and all these people lost all this money, and they're so dumb, bloggity, blah, blah, and this is just a big scam. And what was interesting was to hear these lawyers from these big firms, firms that have been advising businesses in the United States for the better part of a century, who handle by our standards, ungodly amounts of money on a frequent basis. Say, no, sir, you're wrong. This technology has legitimate promise. Our customers who make a lot more money than you do want to get in on it for completely legitimate reasons. And people who don't get on board with the blockchain are going to be left behind. And these were words coming from people who are normally, who are very sober in their analyses of such things. And it gave me a lot of hope that we're going to see good things come out of blockchain and out of crypto going forward, even if things are quiet right now.
Awesome. Sounds very cool. I like your optimism. Well, we'll be back with some interesting witchcraft and hoodoo and Satanism and exorcisms here on the Call to Freedom. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned here on LRN.FM.
Are you a sneezer? If you're not, can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click tips, tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, October 18th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.54 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,225 per ounce. Zen is trading at $14, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,527. Antiwar.com reports Afghan parliamentary candidate Abdul Jabbar Kahraman was killed Wednesday in a bombing attack in Helmand province. The bomb was planted under his office chair, killing him and 3 other people in the room. He is the 10th candidate killed in the past 2 months. Kahraman was behind the creation of the Sangorian Militia, a group that works with the Afghan spy agencies to try to infiltrate the Taliban. This has unsurprisingly made them a popular target for the Taliban attacks. The Taliban was quick to take credit for this attack as well, saying Kahraman is a renowned socialist. The Afghan Interior Ministry reported 3 suspects have been arrested in the attack. With just a few days left before the election, a recent spate of attacks on candidates and rallies seems to be on the upswing. Both the Taliban and the Islamic State are calling for people to boycott the election, and such attacks clearly send a message that going to the polls is dangerous. In 1999, Daryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Daryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports President Donald Trump on Wednesday called for cabinet members to institute budget cuts of at least 5% for their departments next year. Speaking to the press before a cabinet meeting, Trump said he would ask every secretary to make a cut of 5%, if not more, in 2019 after data released by the Treasury Department on Monday showed the U.S. budget deficit rose to its highest level in 6 years. Trump added the Defense Department's budget will probably be $700 billion, down from its current funding at $716 billion. Trump said during the meeting, "Get rid of the fat, get rid of the waste. It will have a huge impact." On Monday, the Treasury released data showing the U.S. budget deficit rose to $779 billion in fiscal year 2018, the highest level since 2012. The Republican tax bill, bipartisan spending increases, and rising interest payments on the national debt were cited as reasons for the growing deficit. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell told Bloomberg the increased deficit was a result of bipartisan unwillingness to cut spending on Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security.
Zencash is now Horizen. Horizen is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizen platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizen will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizen, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizen.global. HORIZEN.global.
Reuters reports Manhattan federal prosecutor said on Wednesday that a U.S. Treasury Department official has been criminally charged with leaking confidential documents related to former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort and others to a reporter from digital media group BuzzFeed. Natalie Mae Edwards, senior advisor in the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, was arrested on Tuesday and charged with unauthorized disclosure of suspicious activity reports and with conspiracy, according to the Office of U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman. Both charges carry a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. Manafort and his longtime associate Rick Gates have pled guilty to criminal charges and agreed to cooperate in special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into whether President Donald Trump's 2016 campaign coordinated with Russia. Prosecutors said Edwards leaked documents that became the basis of BuzzFeed articles about that investigation. In federal court in Alexandria, Virginia, U.S. Magistrate Judge Teresa Buchanan ordered that Edwards be released after surrendering her passport and posting a $100,000 bond. Stephen Hudak, spokesman for FinCEN, said Edwards had been placed on administrative leave. In an interview with federal investigators on Tuesday, Edwards said she was a whistleblower who made the disclosure for record keeping, according to a criminal complaint filed by prosecutors. Information from the disclosure was reported in 11 articles that appeared in BuzzFeed over the course of a year. Prosecutors said beginning in October 2017, Edwards disclosed suspicious activity reports connected to Manafort, Gates, accused Russian agent Maria Butina, the Russian embassy, and a unit of Prevezon Holding Ltd. Prosecutors said Edwards saved the confidential reports on a flash drive and sent them to BuzzFeed reporters using an encrypted message application. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
I'm getting joined by Ellie Granderson. She's going to put a feminine scope on these lace kerchief starbuggers and give us her lady opinion. Ellie?
Hi, Joe.
You know, it riles me up every time you walk in here, Ellie. You set my blood to dancing with all your pillowy parts.
Oh, stop it, Joe.
Now give it to me, no fimble famble, Ellie. When we start dusting these rocket boys' lily white bottoms with baby puff?
Joe, since the end of the Cold War, NASA has basically functioned as a giveaway to the American aerospace industry, wasting trillions of taxpayer dollars every year on extravagant programs with no tangible benefit.
Fine as a plum to look at, all the sense of a badger to boot.
Joe.
Now I've been thinking on, I got these three little chickens pecking on my head, will save NASA some coin. Man wants to go to space, can strap on the helmet, climb in the cannon, let the Chinese gunpowder carry him off among the stars. Y'all come back now. Gonna skin a fox in one throat, and you're gonna fancy on it.
This is the Onion News Network.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
I'm
Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting live from the Horizon.global studio. And our crypto hour has now come to an end, which is cool because we have a really fun story. Tom, I don't even... Take it away.
Must I?
I don't think I can get through it.
So, a little bit of background. Earlier this week, might have been late last week, I don't know, I wasn't paying that much attention at the time. Some witches, real life witches, announced they were going to put a hex on Brett Kavanaugh, the new Supreme Court Justice. And, well, this from The Hill. Exorcist to hold mass for Kavanaugh to counteract witches hexing him. A Catholic exorcist said he plans to hold a mass for Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, next weekend after a group of witches announced their plans to gather in Brooklyn to publicly hex him. Quote, conjuring up personified evil does not fall under free speech.
Wow.
Father Gary Thomas, who serves as an exorcist for the Diocese of San Jose, California, told the National Catholic Register. A wider group of Catholics and exorcists also plan to pray and fast for the protection of Kavanaugh, who is Catholic, which explains his conception of sexual consent. A manager at a Catholic apostolate told the Register he was inspired to pray for the newly appointed justice to grant him, quote, spiritual protection. And also
like
hopes
the Mormons
God
in their magic underwear.
And also hopes God will shed mercy on those involved in the coordinated effort to hex Kavanaugh. The report arrives just days after a group of self-identified witches captured national headlines for announcing their plans to publicly hex the justice. The event, which is being held at an occult bookstore called Catland Books.
Oh, dear God. Why drag cats into this?
Will target, quote, all rapists, according to the event's Eventbrite page. Quote, we will be embracing witchcraft's true roots as the magic, with a K, of the poor, the downtrodden and disenfranchised, and its history as often the only weapon, the only means of exacting justice available to those of us who have been wronged by men just like him, the event read. Quote, Kavanaugh will be the focal point.
Thereby proving Will's point about how people have made it so personal.
Kavanaugh will be the focal point, but by no means the only target. So bring your rage and all of the axes you've got to grind. There will also be a second ritual afterward, the rites of the scorned one, which seeks to validate, affirm, uphold, and support those of us who have been wronged and who refuse to be silent any longer.
Okay. I am no longer a Wiccan. When I was in high school...
Oh, really? We hadn't noticed.
I did dabble in it. Well, I mean, there's nothing explicitly in Wiccanism, Wicca, that really requires one to believe in a deity. But obviously, no. I was, though. I was a Wiccan. I had the books, tarot cards, all of that. I was in that mindset of wanting desperately, like these downtrodden women, of desperately wanting to believe that I did hold some power over things over which I actually held no power. And one of the Wiccan books I had, it suggested that, people get a staff. And I feel stupid even admitting this, because that's stupid. It was the year, I don't know what year it was, but it was way too late in human history for a person to be thinking about getting a staff, right? So it recommended, instead of going out and finding a limb on a tree and, breaking it off, going out and asking the tree to give you one. Now, I did this for 2 nights in a row until I had a lucid moment. Yeah. Oh, okay. Until I had a lucid moment where, I was standing there and I was like, I am talking to this tree and asking it for something that evolution has given me the ability to reach up and take. And no amount of asking for it seemed like it was going to have any sort of impact. But these witches attempting to hex someone, first of all, the Wicca community would denounce them and disown them. Ideally, I don't know, maybe it has, but later than that, okay, because I moved on from that point because it only takes 2 times for me standing outside talking to a tree to realize that, hey, this is stupid. I need to go back to playing Final Fantasy IX.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, well, just 2. Now, 3 might have been a problem, but it only took 2. The girl I was dating at the time who had given me these books, her mother was a Wiccan, and it did not take me long after having this epiphany to realize that, to have a second epiphany and realize that Wicca was basically an entire religion for pissed off feminists. And that's all it is. That's all it's ever going to be. So these people, there's no such thing as magic, but they're pissed off feminists. And they have this mentality that they have been downtrodden by men. Like, look, one day this girl took my cigarettes, right? Because I've been smoking since I was like 12 years old. So she took my cigarettes and threatened to break them. I was like, don't break them, just give them back. And her mom was like, no, break them. Screw him, because I was just a dude at the time. Screw him, he's just a man, break his cigarettes. But she gave them back to me. So, but that's stupid. There's no point. But her mom was like, you let the man walk all over you. But she was just going to break my cigarettes just to be a bitch. There was no male versus female battle there. There was just some woman who took my cigarettes and was going to break them to be a bitch. But that's the mentality that they have, and that's what gravitates them toward Wicca, is that whole pissed off feminist thing.
I'm sorry, what did the story have to do with Wicca? I feel like I missed something.
What did
Wiccans?
With the Wiccan practitioners consider themselves to be witches. That's how they.
But why was she taking your cigarettes? What would that have?
She didn't break my cigarettes. Thankfully, she gave them back.
Well, yeah, but why did she take them? Is what I asked in the first place. I mean, what was?
I don't know. It's just teenagers being teenagers, man.
That's weird. That's just a weird thing to do to somebody. I'm confused and confounded and upset by the existence of this thing. What the crap, people? Leave the cigarettes alone. I mean, smoking is bad for you, and a de facto violation of the NAP if anyone happens to be around. But don't take the cigarettes. Just go away. Go somewhere else.
Oh, we went somewhere else. Giggity.
Oh, yeah.
But
you had her pegged.
Well, someone on Twitch. Someone on Twitch has a question. So, Tom, I'm going to find out what the question is if you want to get back to the. Well, we don't have much time before we got to break, but
because I got a lot to say about these Catholics. Let me tell you, because if there's one group that could somehow make the witches putting the hex on Brett Kavanaugh look like the reasonable ones, it's the Catholics.
That's disconcerting. There is a difference between paganism and Wicca. Wicca is a branch of paganism, but it comes back to, the whole, a car is a type of vehicle thing. Wicca is a type of paganism. So is Druidism and Celtism and some others. But someone has a question on Twitch, and when we get back, we're going to answer it. So stay tuned on Call to Freedom.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Catch the Call to Freedom at its new time, weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. The Call to Freedom is the only live drive-home call-in show in the U.S. with a segment devoted to cryptocurrencies. Crypto Hour, brought to you by Helium.com, live from Vertcoin Studios in New Hampshire. Learn about what makes cryptocurrencies so great and why you should care about them. Updates on new coins and ICOs, and warnings of scams. Plus, hear from traders, whales, developers, and big names in the crypto world. You can also win crypto coins or tokens every episode. Just listen for the faucet sound and be the 5th caller to get free Dash, Litecoin, Vertcoin, Verge, or other cryptocurrencies. The Call to Freedom with Will and Aria, featuring Crypto Hour. Broadcast internationally through our BitPlus network satellite. Weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. on LRN FM.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.fm.
I'm not the one who's so far away when I feel the snake bite and tear my veins. Never did I wanna be here again, and I don't remember why I came. I'm not the one who's so far away when I feel the snake bite and tear my veins. Never did I wanna be here again, and I don't remember why.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, where we are discussing some, well, it's not really voodoo, but it might as well be considered voodoo. And Tom has some remarks about the attempted exorcism.
The darn Catholics, that's what I have comments about.
Okay.
Because first of all, there's nothing biblical about exorcism. Exorcism is, if anything, a rite that, R-I-T-E, that the Catholics came up with to simulate witchcraft. It uses all the same ceremonial type markers, unusual noises, arbitrary rules, group participation, strange sights and sounds to simulate the same sort of sensory trickery that charlatan pagans would use to try to impress crowds around the same era that exorcisms first started becoming a thing.
So your argument is that the Catholic Church, in effect, is attempting to use witchcraft to counter witchcraft.
Indeed, yes. It's the same kind of false teaching that in which witchcraft is rooted, from the Christian perspective. And this is, someone who works for the Diocese of San Jose, California, allegedly, claiming that he's going to have this exorcism. He claims that these people are conjuring up personified evil. Well, I hate to remind him of this, but according to the Bible, personified evil is man. We are all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And when you start adding things to Scripture, like exorcism rites that are not in there, and when you start trying to claim for yourself powers that Jesus demonstrated and that other men were not granted, well, that's anti-biblical, and that's anti-Christ. And it's every bit as bad as any other sort of conjuring, except that you're dressing it up in Jesus' clothes, which makes you that much more guilty in the eyes of God. Now, making this even more egregious, though, is that the Catholic Church in particular already has a major sexual assault problem.
Indeed, they do.
Because of the systemic, long-term, covered-up abuse of young boys within the Catholic Church by people very much like this Father Gary Thomas. Charlatans who would make these sorts of promises and show themselves up very much bigly in order to get things that they wanted. Whereas Mr. Thomas, I suppose, wants attention. The what I'm describing was used to get sexual favors from young boys. So the Catholic Church already has a major sexual assault problem on its hands, and when you add on top of that, sending someone out in an official capacity to supposedly defend.
Now, did they send him out in an official capacity? Because ordinarily, the Catholic Church, denounces these sorts of things.
Officially, anyway. But what is he, this is the National Catholic Register, which is an actual, formal Catholic publication that's talking about this. He's considered the exorcist for the Diocese of San Jose. I'm willing to entertain perhaps any evidence that he's not acting in an official capacity, but as of right now, he claims to be. He has the official title of Father Gary Thomas of the Diocese of San Jose, California. So, until I see otherwise, he appears to be representing himself as acting in the official capacity of the Catholic Church. And, in doing so, he is spreading heresy. Moreover, he's spreading it in a sanctimonious way. He's claiming that they are doing this to stand up for the rights of the unborn. Well,
what?
This is
how
here
does
in
that
the register.
Mental gymnastics work.
There's the Catholics who are doing this are saying that they are doing this because of Kavanaugh's pro-life stance, because they think by defending him, they're defending the rights of the unborn somehow. I'm not sure if he has said this. This is the larger Catholic group that is doing this, is touting Kavanaugh's supposed pro-life credentials, which I've already said on this show I think are BS, because he wasn't willing to stand up for the rights of the unborn in his original confirmation, and it never really came up in his Supreme Court confirmation, so who knows. And then you have this little gem, where he's talking about, here we go. Let's see. He says, quote, "Conjuring up personified evil does not fall under free speech. Satanic cults often commit crimes. They murder and sexually abuse everyone in their cult." Okay? And yet here you are defending a sexual abuser, while your institutionalized church also defends sexual abusers. Remove the plank from thine own eye, instead of trying to remove the non-existent demon from somebody else's.
See, for me, the whole thing is bizarre in a different way, because obviously I don't believe in any sort of witchcraft, right? So to me, you got these pissed off chicks over here going ooga booga booga, and you got this dude over here, this pissed off dude, going ooga booga booga in an attempt to protect this other dude from the pissed off women's ooga booga booga. To me, it's such a beautiful example of full-blown delusion. And I normally don't apply that to religious people because I don't think it would apply to most religious people. But to the type of people going out there thinking they're about to summon up some black magic and hex a dude, and to the people who are like, no, we're going to use our own counter spells to protect the dude, it's just insane. I don't know what else to say about that. Is there any evidence whatsoever to support the belief that these pissed off chicks have that if they say ooga booga booga the right number of times, it will have any sort of effect beyond possibly giving them a sore throat from repeating it?
Well, the biblical answer, of course, is that demons are real, dark forces are real, and they do affect our world. But I don't think that the people who claim to be conjuring them here even believe that. So it's pretty hard to say when the people who are trying to do the conjuring don't believe in what they're trying to conjure that the conjuring is going to do jack. Same goes for the Catholics.
We'll be back here on the Call to Freedom here in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere. We're going to continue discussing witches and witchcraftery and insanity when we get back.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We are broadcasting live from the Horizon.global studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire.
Just why?
Because I've been told that Ooga Booga sounds racist, so it immediately made me think of Aqua Teen
And
Hunger
therefore
Force.
you played it. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, why not? Any opportunity I get to play Aqua Teen Hunger Force on the air, absolutely. Even though that clip will make absolutely no sense without the context, as you pointed out, Tom.
It's actually better without the context, having watched the video. Because the video's just... without the context, it's more jarring somehow. Did you own, by the way, the Adult Swim rap album that MF Doom and DJ Danger Mouse did?
I have not heard of that.
It's actually really good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wasn't Danger Mouse the guy who did the music for Aqua Teen Hunger Force? Or the theme song, at least?
I'm pretty sure he did. And then, MF Doom is a rapper of some renown. Danger Mouse was also the other half of Gnarls Barkley with CeeLo Green.
CeeLo?
But, yeah, CeeLo.
Yeah, he sucks.
Oh, shut up. CeeLo's great. CeeLo's great. I see you driving around town with the girl I love, and I'm not... Can't say that on the radio. Anyway, but the album was basically MF Doom rapping about the various shows that were on Adult Swim in the early 2000s. So there was a whole song
before
about...
it was just Family Guy and Rick and Morty? Back when they actually had creative shows?
Rick and Morty wasn't on there at all. Yeah, it was like Space Ghost. The Aqua Teen Hunger Force has its own song. Harvey Birdman has its own song. And Master Shake and Frylock and Meatwad and Carl are all on the album at various points.
I do really love Shake's attempted rap when he's pretending to be why can't I think of it? Flavor Flav.
I think that was actually a tie-in.
Okay, that makes sense. So really, I'm definitely going to have to listen to the album. But yeah. I mean, especially since it comes from Aqua Teen. I mean, not from Aqua Teen, from Adult Swim's days before it was just
the glory days.
Yeah,
when it was actually adult.
Yeah, I like Rick and Morty, I do, but I'm also keenly aware that first, it's got this whole cult following thing going on, just like the band Tool does, actually. In fact, I bet there's a lot of overlap between rabid Tool fans and rabid Rick and Morty fans. But it's not that funny. And it's basically just Back to the Future with a more manic Marty and a more psychotic Doc.
Which that's what it's ripping off, isn't it?
I believe so. I don't know. If it's not, then they should be ashamed of themselves.
They should be ashamed of themselves if they thought it was original. But it would be better if it was an actual deliberate ripoff, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, even the names, Rick and Morty, Doc and Marty. I mean, come on. Yeah, I definitely think it was supposed to be a ripoff. Apparently, the original cartoon was called Doc and Marty. So yeah, probably some licensing to Back to the Future would be good.
So in this show, because I've never seen Rick and Morty,
You've never seen Rick and Morty? It is overhyped, but it is also worth watching. So I would recommend it. I avoided it for a long time because it sounded like more of that Adventure Time crap, which, it's a kid's show, but it's totally got adult overtones. And it just turns out to be the most boring thing I've ever seen. But I was really surprised. The first time I ever watched Rick and Morty was on the way to PorcFest last year. And I was really surprised by how funny it was.
Okay. Well, for now, I will take your word for it.
It's worth checking out. So you don't get any of the Rick and Morty references that we play on the show?
I only get them in the sense that I am familiar that Rick and Morty is a show that exists.
All right. Fair enough. Well, it is a show that exists. I still prefer Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Tom? Yeah, I mean, but even that show had a certain number of inside gags that I don't know how well they hold up to the rigors of time.
Well, and then they kind of lost their minds. They got lost and weren't sure what to do after their 100th episode, and they changed the name of the show. So everyone's DVR stopped recording it, and everyone thought it went off the air. Just a series of really stupid decisions that ultimately killed the show, even though some of the episodes from that period were still really funny. But not all of them. Not even most of them. The first few seasons of Aqua Teens was definitely better. Like Super Birthday Snake and things like that.
I'm sure I'd recognize it if I saw it.
Well, it's the one where Meatwad gets a snake and gets eaten by the snake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see,
I remember it now. That was great.
It was. Here on LRN.FM during the Call to Freedom, we're going to talk about shows that you may not have seen and laugh about them in case, you've actually seen them too. But back to the exorcism, I suppose.
But back to the exorcism. Why?
Oh, because that's something to actually talk about. Basically, it's all about causing suffering. Dakota Braxiel, co-owner of the bookstore, told Newsweek, and we intend to make
I'm suffering right now, all right?
Suffer.
Oh, there's suffering going on, all right.
Half of the event's proceeds will go to women and LGBT charities. The other half of proceeds will be evenly distributed to the Ali Forney Center and Planned Parenthood. So,
oh, great.
What was that
Just
thing I
great.
said about pissed off feminists?
That doesn't play into the narrative at all, does it?
There will also be a second ritual called The Rights of the Scorned One. Oh, your article actually covered that.
Yeah, see that one, he probably would disagree, but that actually seems to be moderately therapeutic to me.
Yeah, I would say
so we're gonna have
it's got some therapeutic value. It probably has no power to actually change anything in the real world, except through, the inner monologue of a person resolving to better their life, ultimately manifesting in an improved life. But as far as them going, hocus pocus, now my rights are affirmed, is not going to happen. This whole thing is bizarre to me, Tom. I don't know how to process it as an atheist, looking at it and seeing people who genuinely believe that they're about to cast some spells, and other people who genuinely believe they're about to interfere with some spells. Well, we'll be back with the cannabis news. Sorry, Tom.
As if we needed any more drug references on this show. Giggity.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at SurvivorMax.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.fm पे।
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. It is time for the cannabis news, and we actually have two competing stories, both of which are interesting. I think we're going to start first, though, with the most uplifting one. Apparently, the White House wants your opinion on reclassifying cannabis. Now, before anyone gets excited, telling your opinion to the government doesn't do anything. But hey, you know, we can engage in this fantasy together.
Well, sometimes it tells them who to target when it's time to start throwing people out of helicopters, but that's about it.
That's true, too. This week saw the launch of legal cannabis sales across Canada, the largest country so far to legalize cannabis nationally. It's big news, but it's left a lot of people here in the United States wondering when our turn might come. Here's one way to help bring about change. Oh, you can almost hear the optimism in his voice and the naivety. Between now and October 31st, the U.S. FDA is accepting public comment on how cannabis should be classified under international drug treaties. A World Health Organization is set to meet next month in Geneva to discuss the legitimate use, harmful use, status of national control, and potential impact of international control of cannabis and other substances, including synthetic cannabinoids and fentanyls. These comments will be considered in preparing a response from the U.S. to the World Health Organization regarding the abuse liability and diversion of these drugs. The World Health Organization will use this information to consider whether to recommend that certain international restrictions be placed on these drugs. If this sounds complicated and bureaucratic, that's because it is.
It is.
I'm proud of Leafly for recognizing that. They instantly destroy that pride by saying, but it matters. Not only is this one of the few opportunities you have to register official comments on drug policy directly with the federal government, but it's also a chance to affect international agreements that stand in the way of legalization here in the United States. I want some of what they're smoking.
Well, apparently you have to help them convince the WTO of that.
Cannabis
is give you any.
Cannabis is currently classified under global drug policy agreements as a Schedule I substance, just like it is domestically. Which, you know, it raises so many problems as far as national autonomy goes. Why? This is why we were told not to get involved with treaties. Because now these treaties and other foreign powers are governing us. We can't legalize pot because we're bound by these treaties that tell us not to. And of course, I mean, we're the main signatory party on all of these treaties. So, I mean, what are they going to do about it? You know, if we violate these treaties? Nothing. But it doesn't matter because they're not there to matter. They're there to give us justification for when our government goes, well, we can't just legalize it. There's all these treaties. There's all these sheets of paper that we wrote that say we can't legalize it. So we got to change those sheets of paper first. So it's a bunch of crap. It's a scheme. It's a racket. The treaties are just justification for the continued existence of state power in all forms. That's why we have NATO. That's why we have the World Health Organization, the World Bank, and all of these other things. They're meant to be governments that we don't control and that tell our government to do what our government wants to do, so that there's ultimately no one we can blame. We can't say, oh, well, it's our government's fault, because they can point the finger at somebody else and say, no, it's their fault. And we can't do anything about those people because there's no voting mechanism, first of all, that even in theory would allow us to do anything about that. But here it is, this unaccountable, unelected organization full of health experts who don't seem to want to use their expertise to go, hey, you know what? Pot isn't that bad, and who instead want opinions from people who are not experts on what they should do about this drug that they have decided that they need to ban because they and their expertise have decided that, you know, marijuana causes the white women to lust after the black genitals.
Swiggity swooty.
Yeah, this whole thing is just nuts, man. I've never had so little faith in humanity as I do right now. And it's because of this insane circle jerk.
I thought you were going to say you never had so much faith in blackjack.
So much what? You're laughing too hard for me to hear.
It's terrible. It's not how I want people to remember me while I'm off for maternity leave.
Well, in other news that won't cause me to lose my faith in humanity, well, it might. The science behind giving CBD and cannabis to cats and dogs. Now, before we even proceed, I want to say, if you're the kind of jackass who blows shotguns into your animals' faces, screw you. Don't do that. It's not what the article is discussing, because I don't know any pothead in high school who did not subject their cats to that. And it was clear and obvious that their cats hated it, but they did it anyway.
Blow shotguns into their cats' faces? That's horrifying.
Yeah, I've seen it at least 60 times.
Well, we're not talking about like shotguns, right?
Tom, have you ever smoked weed? A shotgun is when
No,
you take a
we've
blunt.
been through this.
You've never smoked weed? Okay, well,
No.
a shotgun is when you take a blunt and you flip it around so that the embers are inside your mouth and you blow outward, blowing the smoke ideally into another consenting human being's mouth.
Okay, well, thank God. I mean, that's not great, but it's not what I was thinking they were doing to the poor cat.
No, they're holding the cat's head still and blowing a bunch of weed smoke into its face, essentially.
If you have to hold the cat there, that's the
Yeah.
problem.
That's the first sign right there that the cat doesn't want it, right?
Yeah, like if you did that to at least one of our cats, he'd be like, "What you doing?" And he'd come over and he'd sniff your mouth and try to get some more because he's like that. That's fine. Well, it's not really fine, but
I agree with Red Monkey. I want to say, and we've discussed that several times on the show, that I'm against the legalization of cannabis precisely for that reason. Once cannabis is legalized, that's going to be it. The drug war will become eternal. We need to, because we're going to lose our biggest set of allies who only care about pot. But, I want to see MDMA legalized. I want to see everything. I want to see human action, human existence legalized. And I don't really care what those humans do to one another, as long as it doesn't involve aggression. So yeah, if someone wants to sit at their home and shoot up heroin, I'm fine with that. Legalize heroin. If they want to,
I want to see human existence legalized, man.
I don't even smoke weed though. Well, see, the issue with crocodile is that it is 100% a product of the drug war. If the people in Russia who invented crocodile could have just gotten heroin, then they would never have invented crocodile in the first place. It's generic heroin, except, it causes necrosis of the flesh. But by that point, they're already addicted. So it's the best they can get. No one chooses to be a crocodile addict. It just happens because first they can get opiates and then they need something stronger, so they turn to heroin. But then heroin gets illegal. The cops raid the heroin dealers. The cops arrest the heroin dealers and they go, oh crap, we're addicted. We've got to get something in our system. And so they go to this other guy who says, well, I can teach you how to make something. It's like heroin. It's a little bit stronger than heroin. I mean, it'll cause your arms to rot off, literally. But hey, that's years from now, right? And they end up doing it. They get trapped in that cycle, and it's 100% because of the drug war. If they could just walk into the pharmacy, because they are walking into the pharmacy to buy the the codeine that they are using to make crocodile. So let them just walk into the pharmacy and buy the heroin and skip the crocodile altogether. That's my argument.
Speaking of skipping the crocodile, like I said earlier, this is my last day on air before I leave for paternity leave. So, Aria, I'll miss you.
Miss you too, Tom.
For a few months. I will be reevaluating toward the beginning of the year when I'm going to be able to make it back on.
Oh wow!
But wish us luck on the baby. And thanks for listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. Stay tuned for Free Talk Live. And catch Aria and Will on Monday.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm.